And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to day number 8 of the Healing Code. Did I say Healing Code? I got that in my mind this morning. The Cord Removal Healing 10-day challenge. Yes, I was working with the Healing Code cards this morning, so that was the last thing on my mind. Anyways, thank you everybody for being here. I'm looking forward to another exciting day with everybody. So an announcement I have with the Cord Removal Healing 10-day challenge is today we're going to be kind of going over success stories, questions that you guys have, okay? Tomorrow will be a short broadcast because I'm going to be doing New Earth Insights tomorrow as well, too, at 11 a.m. Pacific. So tomorrow's broadcast will be starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time, okay? So probably about half an hour, 35 minutes around there. And then for day number 10, we're going to do a Zoom meeting special, okay? So we're just going to be popping on a Zoom meeting and just sharing success stories, sharing questions, and again, general feedback pertaining to the 10-day CRH. Okay, so I will have a link up in the video description here, but you'll need to find it in the recording. Okay, so just go to the recording of day number 8 here in the video description after I finish off with the live, and then I'll have the link that you guys can sign up for the Zoom meeting, and you guys can participate, and we'll have some live Q&A, feedback, and again, just some closing reviews relating to cord removal healing altogether. Okay? All right. So, like I said, today is really just about you guys, right? So any questions that you guys have, feedback that you want to share, success stories that you may have as well, too. I know there was one question yesterday, just before I went off the air with yesterday's broadcast. Someone asked about the idea of where the cord is when we're grabbing the cord, right? So you guys see it here, but you can't really tell if I'm touching the chest or not. So what I'll do is I'll just turn to the side here, okay? Just like this, okay? Maybe I'll do it over here so it's a little bit easier for you to see, okay? Just like this. So about a good 6 inches, 3 to 6 inches from your heart. You don't have to be so precise, just as long as you're not touching the chest, okay? So as long as you have it like 1 inch, in front of your heart, that's fine. We're not touching the chest though. Just like here, we're not using the physical body to touch, right? Our hands are not touching when we're grabbing the ball, okay? So same thing here, okay? That's all I'm doing. I'm just keeping it about an inch or two, maybe a few inches away from myself. And that's all you have to do. So like I said, you're just grabbing the cord. It just becomes habitual. Grab the cord and you know right away that all of your information from your check-in list, physical, emotional, and mental bodies are immediately contained inside that cord. Okay, it's immediate. Like just I say, if I grab an energy ball, you instantly know there's an energy ball here, right? As soon as you grab it, you instantly know that there's a cord here, and you know that that cord is assigned to everything that you have put down through your check-in list. Okay, so hopefully that's clear to everybody. So Jasmine says, "Hi Brad, I've been doing the CRH now for the past week or so, and I've been successful in removing my addiction to sweets." That's awesome. Good job. Great work. Yes, like I said, I use it myself. So I was clearing out a lot of old baggage myself, right? I had like old relationships and old habits that I was just noticing within myself as well, too, because I had quite an addiction to sweets as well, too. Like ever since I was a kid, I was always very much a sweet tooth, right? My mom would always give me candy all the time to shut me up. So that stuck with me at a very, very young age. So thankfully, I've been able to reduce that. I'm not completely off the sweets, but I've reduced it quite a bit. Every now and then I like to have like a chocolate or something. So, and again, my fiance gives me some chocolate before Christmas time. Like, oh, okay, fine. I guess it's a gift, so I appreciate it. So, so it's just a matter of kind of managing the sweets with me a little bit more too. So, yes, and cord removal healing is great with that. BCR too, as well, is great with that. So that's great. Congratulations, Jasmine. I'm glad to hear of your success there. It's very important, right? We want to know exactly what the cord removal healing is doing for us, right? For me, it's worked with many different things. Like I said, old relationships, old habits that I've had as well too, I've been able to release, and it stays gone. That's the wonderful thing. If I'm clearing an old trauma within myself using the cord removal healing, I still feel it to this day, right? I did these releases several weeks ago, and I've had no return at all in regards to those releases. Like I said, some of it was regards to relationships, some of it was regards to old living situations, some of it again was sweets, old addictions, right? And I've been able to clear them out. And like I said, ever since they were cleared out, they have not come back, they have not returned. So you just kind of notice these things, right? Like I said, I've been doing this major cleaning for years. but there's still these little points, there's these little specks, there's these residuals that keep coming up. And so we just be aware of that. We go in, we do something like cord removal healing, we do BCR, and they just don't come back, right? So you're completely being free of these things. And so both of these techniques, BCR and CRH, are very, very good for helping to permanently release these things. And that's the whole idea, saying I do not want to do this because I just want to have a relief. I don't want to have a Band-Aid on my arm, right? I don't want to involve a Band-Aid at all. I want to heal the scar completely so that this does not ever have to come back again, right? So if a person has cigarette addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, sex addiction, okay, they're able to release that altogether. They know that they're not just looking to put a Band-Aid on these things. They don't want to just give a temporary fix, because a lot of people do that in common healing, right? They go to a healer and they get like a nice Reiki healing session, or maybe it's a Qigong practice or anything like that, and that's great. But then again, the person comes back a few days later. Oh yeah, I need another session. I need another session. To me, that's not really healing, okay? That's relief healing, but that's not release healing, okay? We need to release these patterns. And basically when we're going to a healer, quite commonly, they work on the surface for us. And they may say, okay, well, there's this emotional state here you got to take care of. And there may be some suggestions for that. And that's all fine and good. But like I said, my goal is like when you come to me for a healing, I don't really want to see you again based upon that state, right? If you come back to me, it's regarding something else. Okay, so if a person says, I have this alcohol addiction in that way. Okay, I work with that person. Maybe it takes 1 or 2 sessions. Okay, but nonetheless, that person has now completely cleared away their trauma that represents their addiction to alcohol, and now they don't come back. I'm like, good. And I say that in the nicest way. I said, I hope I don't have to see you again pertaining to this. Okay, if you do come back, it's regarding something else. Okay, and that's fine. And that's really the goal that I set. And this is exactly why I've created BCR and why I've created CRH in this way, is to that once you're able to do this, and maybe like I said, you have to do it multiple times. That can happen. Okay, but nonetheless, you're aiming to be completely released from whatever your trauma is. Right? You don't want to keep coming back week after week, trying to clear away, okay, I have this alcohol addiction, I have this cigarette addiction, whatever it may be. So yeah, I cleared it away for 1 week, but then it came back. Well, you're not getting to the root of the issue. Simple as that. You're not getting to your root. And as I always say is that remember perfection always. And this is going to be the next step when we get past the challenges here. Because CRH and BCR work really, really well together. But like I said, they're the stepping stones to moving much more into the non-dual. And when you go into the non-dual itself, you're going to be working with perfection. Okay? You're going to see yourself in perfection always. You are going to remember the natural laws, the divine laws, the creational laws, God's laws. And you will know that as you attain perfection always within, these things are going to dissolve away even more quicker than what you guys are learning right now through BCR and CRH. Okay, so that's going to be a few more weeks down the road, but this is something I'll be teaching you guys as well too, is we're going to be looking into the healing power. We're going to be looking into the perfect laws, right? And working together with that, because that is the non-dual, right? So the next challenge I bring to you guys will be completely in the non-dual way of things. Okay, this is kind of the stepping stone to the non-dual, both BCR and CRH. Okay, so very good. Thank you very much again, Jasmine, for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. So just looking down the list here. Mira says she got a beautiful notebook for Christmas, first day using it. Awesome. I actually got this notebook here from my fiance's mother. She gave me this a couple years ago for I think it was a birthday gift, I think. So I've been using that ever since. So yes, I know what that's like. Very good. Glad you're putting it to work. Okay. Oops, let me go down the list here a bit. Octavio says, this morning I did CRH on rejection from maternal family due to opposition to father plus abandonment. Focused on intestines and fear. Bowel became activated and was just sent to bathroom right after finished. Yep, that will happen. I've had situations like that as well too. We do some very deep healing on the body and all of a sudden the body has to purge. Okay? It's very normal. It's a very natural reaction. So that's good. That's showing, Octavia, that you're going very deep with this. Right? We're clearing all that out. And this is, like I said, we have all this stuff, right? We have all these distorted cords that are around us. So we're just working to soften them and then cut them out. Soften them, cut them out. Soften them, cut them out. And then replace, replace, replace. So like I said, guys, this is a very, very simple technique. BCR is as well too, right? When you're doing BCR technique and you're doing CRH technique, as I've said, guys, this always follows the science of the simple. But like I said, it's kind of like the pre-non-dual techniques before we get really into we're not even in the meat potatoes yet, guys. I'm not even beginning to tell you about the true healing, okay? So this is, again, the stepping stone healing. It's a powerful healing because we're clearing a lot of conflicts there, but we're not really going into the next phase, right? So BCR, you could say, is phase 1. CRH is phase 2, okay? Then we're basically finished with the pre-non-dual healings, okay? Because those are cleaning, okay? Those are cleansing techniques, right? So we're going in and we're doing a lot of the inner house clearing. We're cleaning up our mansion, so to speak. We're cleaning up our temple. We haven't even begun to heal yet, okay? We haven't even begun to develop ourselves yet. That's where the next challenge is going to come. Like I said, it'll probably be in the next few weeks, so it'll probably be around February, where I'm going to introduce the healing power. Okay, I don't exactly have a direct name for it yet, but it's going to be a non-dual. I wouldn't even really call it a healing practice, but more so the idea of moving into the perfect laws, right? So there's a healing power to it, but there's a healing to it, but there's also a development out of it, right? So I'm kind of getting you guys set up for the next challenge, okay? And the next challenge will be very much in the non-dual way of things. And it will really be working together with your energy. And this is why I'm constantly reminding you guys to work with the rhythmic breathing, because you're going to need it, okay? For those of you who volunteer, who want to be part of the next healing course or the next healing challenge, you really want to work with the pranic healing. You want to work with the rhythmic breathing. You want to work with pranayama. I would even suggest you guys get into some qigong, get into some tai chi, okay? Really get into some energy cultivation work, because this is where we're going in the next challenge here in the next few weeks. Like I said, probably around mid to late February, I'll be bringing it out, okay? But really what we're doing is we're working with the divine laws. We're working with the natural laws. And we're working in being able to bring greater healing to the body, where you're not even having to, quote unquote, write anything down, right? We're not going deeply within and doing a lot of intellectual searching, okay? This is what we're kind of doing with CRH and BCR, right? BCR technique, you have a notepad. You're writing things down of what you want to clear. CRH, you're doing the same thing. You're writing things down you want to clear. And I still recommend you guys work with these two techniques very, very often, okay? Because that's the house cleaning. And we have to do the house cleaning, right? Once we get the house cleaning out of the way, now we can get into the meat and potatoes. Now we can go into the true healing work, because we have not done the great work yet, okay? Even through a lot of the videos that I've shared with you guys on my channel, I haven't even got into this yet, okay? This is the next thing. This is the big thing. This is something that I've actually been waiting since August to debut with you guys. And like I said, we're just not there yet, right? We have to go through BCR. We have to go through CRH. We have to go through rhythmic breathing. And now we can go into the non-dual. Now we can start getting into the big stuff. Now we can still start to go into the master's arts, okay? We're looking into what the yogis and what the gurus and what the masters and what the sages have done to basically move themselves closer to God, to move them into the non-dual. That's where we're going next, okay? So be prepared. It's going to be a big challenge that we're going to do. I'm probably thinking this will be a 30-day challenge as well, too, from mid-February to, say, mid-March. I'm not too sure of the exact dates yet, but I would like to get it in February sometime, between mid to late February. So I'm giving you guys a bit of a teaser about what is ahead, and it's going to be remarkable. It's going to be an incredible thing, and you'll be amazed at how once you understand this, it's even simpler than BCR. It's even simpler than CRH, okay? And it's you living the non-dual life, and that's what we're going to be getting into. So I'm looking forward to that time. Okay, Linda says, I still need to work on underlying fears, and that's okay. It's all right to keep working on it. Like I said, you got all the tools you need, Linda, to completely vanquish, right, all of these conflicts. Like I said, this is the necessary first step, right? When a person says, Brad, I kind of want to do like what the ancient sages have done, like what the great masters have done. Well, this is exactly what they've done. We're just doing it kind of in more of a modern way, but they've had to clean themselves out. They've had to go through a great purging. Before we can actually do the great work, we have to go through the purging. And so that's what we do with BCR technique, with the black ball, white ball, with EQ method, with cord removal healing, is we're just cleaning ourselves out. And once we start to clean ourselves out and we feel really, really good, then we go ahead and now we can do the great work. Now we can really see ourselves with God. Now we can move into the perfect laws. And that's where we're moving in next. Now we can really exercise the healing power. Now we can work with people in ways we can't even imagine yet. Okay? That's where we're going into. This is where we're going to look forward to these things in the months to come. Because now you guys are going to get into the true work, the great work. Okay? We haven't even done the true work yet. We haven't even done the great work yet. Not even close. Okay? Not until you go into the non-dual do you actually do the true great work. So that's what we're going to look into. Okay. Octavio says, later I did CRH related to late father. Very good. Yeah. Just make peace. You guys have to remember, okay, your loved ones have never left your side. Okay? We have to remember that, right? When people are leaving, they have loved ones dear in their hearts. They never, ever leave you. Where are they going to go? They are always going to be with you. Their love always remains with you. And this is what you're going to learn to do, is you're going to see on the other side of the veil. You're going to feel on the other side of the veil. You're going to know that your loved ones have been with you all the time. They're always going to be with you because your love anchors them together and their love anchors you together with them. Right? So even though they don't have a physical body, you have to understand, guys, this is not the true physical form. Do you realize that our subtle body contains all of the vital organs that our physical body has? Okay? So when we're looking at our subtle body has all of the organs, has all of the intricate inner systems within its own body that, again, is just through this body a physical representation of the subtle body. The subtle body, the astral body, right? The etheric body, you can call it many different things. But that's the true body. Okay? This isn't. This is just a physical manifestation of that body in question. So we haven't even tuned into our true body yet. And you guys are going to learn how to do this. You are going to learn to tune into your true body, the subtle body. All right? You're going to work with the subtle body, the etheric body, the astral body, the transient body, even the causal body. Okay? That's where you're going to be moving into. And now you're going to be going into your other bodies and say, oh, I get this now. This is just a physical, solid manifestation of my other bodies, of my true body. That's it. That's all this is. And that's all your loved ones have returned to. And that's the same with animals. That's the same with plants. That's the same with all life. Okay? We all have our own unique original bodies. And these bodies are, again, malleable. All right? We are able to see them change form. They can take a certain form of representation if they wish, holding a thought form together, or they can be seen just as pure light. You guys are going to learn how to do this. Okay? So this is, again, something to really keep in mind. Like, I've had these experiences of my true body in dream time. Just seeing the true body as it is. Looking at your organs, looking at your light. It's a beautiful sight. Can't really explain it. But nonetheless, you'll be able to learn how to go into meditation and start working with your body, or again, invoking through dreams to connect with your true subtle body and working together with that. Every organ that we have in this physical body, the subtle body has, right? Every intricate system that we have in this body, the subtle body has, right? All of this comes from that body, okay? Once you understand this, you will know that you will never know loss again, because that's all your loved ones have returned to. They've returned to that subtle body. So you're going to learn this, okay? I'm giving you guys some sneak previews here, but we're going to look into some really deep stuff in the weeks ahead. This is what 2022 is all about. You guys are going to be getting into the master's work. Okay. H. Anderson says, I've been working with both the BCR and the CAH and found that it seems to be migrating to, on most issues, that it's starting to become instantaneous. Yes. You got it. Because the more that you work with this, the more that this thing becomes so natural to you. It's just a snapping of a finger, right? So In my example, if I'm doing cord removal healing, like I said, I go through the entire process. I cut the cord, hand it off to spirit, plug in the new cord, right? Love energy flowing through the new cord. As soon as I go through that entire process, there is an instant transformation, right? I instantly feel better. Okay. Physical body still needs to take time because it is physical. Okay. It does work together with a time field, and it takes time for the full calibration to take effect. But nonetheless, your fullness of feeling, your sensations are already well adjusted, right? This is why when you really look at mental and emotional situations, and you're doing BCR, you're doing CRH, and you just feel this shift, and it feels really incredible. And the good news is it stays with you. So it feels almost instantaneous. Your physical body is going through processes as well too, but what you'll notice is that the pain sensations can go away within a near instant. Okay, I've had that. There's been times where I've had like neck aches and sore shoulders, and again, I just apply it, it's gone, right? And the good news is, again, once you clear out the underlying issue about what's happening, it stays gone. So this just becomes a lot more natural to you as you do it over time, more and more. So yes, very good point, Anderson. Thank you for that. Ali says, addiction is what is holding me back. I have been feeling recently I might be repressing memories as I don't have any traumatic memories. Okay. The whole idea, like I said, is just to work with a sensation, a similar feeling. Okay? So if you're feeling that there's addiction there, maybe you can't put your finger in regards to what the underlying issue is, but you have feelings associated with it. Well, that's what we work with. Okay? You have a mentality associated with it. Right? So there could be a feeling of feeling lost, or feeling struggle, or feeling confinement in that way, or feeling that, again, you're not good enough. Okay, those are all mental blockages. So we can work with that as all together. Like I said, guys, you don't really need to know your full story. You just need to have a passing familiarity with it. If you have a passing familiarity and say, okay, yeah, my mind's a little bit hazy. I don't remember the exact events. I knew that I was addicted to substances, but I don't really 100% recall what was happening. That's okay. You don't have to. As long as you have a passing familiarity with the feeling or the emotion and the mental block, how did this make you feel? When you think of that, what did that do to you? I felt crippled. I felt confined, right? I felt like nobody cared, right? So again, there's these feelings of abandonment, rejection, abuse. Okay? Those are the three traumas. We put that down in the mental body, and we now start to cut those free. Okay? Because that will make a difference. Even if we're not 100% familiar with whatever our situation is, we have that passing familiarity. And that passing familiarity can make all the difference. That I'm clearing away those particular traumas. Does that mean that they'll all 100% be gone right away? Probably not. They'll still come together in other forms. But as far as these forms are concerned, they'll be cleared out for good. Because we're cutting the cords and we're putting new ones in. And that love energy, it's what's surmounting you into moving into this greater transformation of healing. Okay? So do not concern if you don't have 100% of the story. You don't need it. Just remember the familiarity. How familiar does this feel? What's the passing familiarity with this? Right? So then you're looking at your physical body. Well, my chest feels very tight. So there's a symptom. That's something we got to put down. Okay? How about your emotional state? Yeah, I felt a lot of sadness and fear. Okay, there's sadness and fear. Completely regarding the addiction situation. Okay, what about your mental blockages? Yeah, definitely abandonment, rejection, abuse. Okay, we put that down. Now we got some elements to work on through the cord removal healing. And that's what we work on. We work with familiarity. We do not need to go 100% into the story. Familiarity will do. Okay? Thank you very much, Ali. Okay. Anderson once again asked, I do intuitive energy healing with horses and animals. I'm thinking that I can use these techniques on them as well. Yeah, you certainly can. You can work with BCR. You can work with CRH with animals as well too. But like I said, it's kind of like you're forming a very strong bond with the animals, right? Of course, the animals cannot communicate in our language in regards to knowing that it's gone, right? The best thing I would suggest doing is wait until your animal companion is asleep and then start doing work on them, okay? So whether you have a cat, whether you have a dog, whether you have a horse, okay? Let them sleep. Once they're sleeping, now you can work on them, okay? Because what you're doing is you're calling in their higher selves. So their higher selves are working together. Yes, guys, animals have higher selves. All life again, has that equivalence, okay? So you're working together with their higher selves, and again, you're just feeling chords. Like I said, you can make your chords their chords. Okay, this is like what I do when I connect with you guys. Like I said, I'm not really teaching you that just yet, because you guys have only been doing this 8 days. Okay, but in time, as you continue to practice this, I may do some follow-ups where you guys may be aware about how to do this and work with other people's chords. You have to develop your magnetic body first. Okay, your magnetic body has to be developed before you can even touch that, though. This is why I probably would just work with private sessions with this right now. I don't want to just teach people this prematurely. Okay, you have to develop your magnetic body. You have to feel that magnetic tug, specifically when you're working with others, whether it's other people, whether it's animals, whether it's plants. Okay, you can do this with plants as well, too. This is why I would suggest just work with BCR technique for now in regards to other animals. Okay, before you start working with other people's chords, because you guys aren't quite there yet. Okay, so work with BCR technique. BCR technique would be ideal for that. Okay, so you're working with BCR technique and you're seeing your animal companions as your life circle. Okay, and you're working with your animal companions that way. If we are working with cord removal healing, like I said, one of the first steps is have a strong magnetic body. Okay, so that you can feel the animal's chords as you work on this. Is why I was a little bit hesitant saying, yeah, you can work with cord removal healing with it at the beginning, because you still need a little bit more work with it, right? Cord removal healing is a little bit of a different animal, okay? It's not to say that it's superior or less superior than BCR. BCR technique is great, and like I said, it's more of a system at this particular point when you do the 30 days that you can work on the animals, okay? So if you want to work on animals, wait till they're asleep. Okay. If you do decide to do cord removal healing, make sure your magnetic body is strong. I can't emphasize that enough. It's extremely important. Okay. You have to feel their chords through you. If you can feel their chords through you, then you can do it. Okay. If you cannot do that, don't do that. Go to BCR instead. Okay. And just bring love energy into them, and just feel that love energy just saturating them. Okay, and that's something that you can do to help them. See them in perfection. See them in the perfect body. See them in their harmony. That's what you want to do. That's the key secret here. That's what you guys are going to be learning through the great work. Okay, I'll probably just refer to it as that you're going to be learning through the great work. Now, here's another great update that I want to share with you guys as well, too. So when we get around to travel again, because travel will be happening, I feel this coming year, right? Like I said, I've always said that the agendas, so to speak, the CV19 agenda, I feel will end around the end of April, and then there will be a little bit of a period to bring everything back together. When we're able to travel again, I am going to be looking to hold some retreats, okay? And I would refer to them as KIP retreats, okay? That means Kundalini and Inner Practices retreats. So I am looking to hold these. Once travel is restored, once we're able to travel without having to use the poke passports and all that stuff, okay? So I am looking to do this. And once that time comes, I'll be booking some places in Canada, in the United States, and overseas, okay? And then I'll be hosting some of these personal retreats, okay? Basically helping you guys with Kundalini awakening and helping you guys with the inner practices that, again, constitutes the great work, okay? So those are some things to come. Like I said, I got some big plans once we're able to travel once again without all the dictatorship nonsense, right? When all that dissolves. And yes, there's some very exciting things that are going to come, okay? But that's what I can share in the meantime about that. Some really exciting things are going to come down the pipe as we work together with the great work, okay? Okay. Okay, Anders asked the question, what is the connection, if any, between tensions in the body and cords? Well, cords, again, are linked to your physical, emotional, and mental bodies. So when your body is in strain, that's obviously representing a tight cord. When your emotions are in strain, that's representing a tight cord. When your mental blockages are in strain, that is representing a tight cord. This is why we're using the tight cord for that idea, right? If you're not feeling any tension, and you're not going to have a strong cord. Your cord's going to be very, very weak. So you may feel something very minor. You may feel like a flutter. Okay, there's a kind of a flutter in my chest. and I look into the cord and say, it's really weak. You don't have to worry about it. Just cut it. It's done. Okay? And then apply the new cord. So you're not too concerned about the idea of things that are fluttering or things that are minor, because they're just going to end up as minor chords. It's good for you to look at them, but I would put them more on the back burner. I would say save them for later. Look into the things that are a lot more intense right now. So look into your tensions. Look at the tensions in the body. Look at the tensions in the emotion. Look at the tensions in the mental body. Okay, these are your bodies. So this is why when we're filling up the white ball, we're doing it in layers. Okay, so here's the physical layer. Here's the emotional layer. Here's the mental layer. So now we have love energy for all three of those bodies. And now they run like a current through the cord. And now the cord starts to get weak, starts to get loose. Now you can cut it. Okay, like I said, we only cut weak cords. We do not cut cords that are strong. So because number one, you will not be able to cut them. Even if you try to feel like you'll cut them, they'll just grow back. Okay, you're still attached to that. You cannot clear away what you're still attached to. Okay, so we have to remember that, right? Even through the 10-day challenge here, guys, you cannot cut away cords that you are still attached to. It doesn't matter if you summon an archangel or anything of that nature. If you're still attached to those things, they will come back. Okay, you may feel a temporary relief, and then it'll just grow back again. Okay, and I've met people in the past who have been like that. Say, I cut these cords, but then they come back. Well, because you're still attached to these things. You're still attached to your physical pain. You're still attached to your emotional trauma. You're still attached to your mental blockages. So how do you expect them to go away? They're not going to. You're the one that's holding them together. You're that force. You're the one that has completely attributed your mind to keeping these presences here within your awareness. Who's going to take them away? Nobody else can. God won't touch them. God sees you in perfection, always. God has never ever seen you as an imperfect being. The perfect creates the perfect. Okay? But we see ourselves as imperfect. So everything that represents conflict is our own responsibility. It's not God's responsibility. Okay? God sees you as perfect. You don't see yourself as perfect. And that's your problem. This is what we're going to be working with in the great work, right? In the healing power, in the perfect laws, is for you to see yourself as perfect from the inside, right? And then we're taking all of that inner perfection and we're radiating it outwards. And now we're developing the healing power. And now we're being aware of the natural laws. Now we're being aware of the divine laws. Now we're being aware of the mental laws. Now we're being aware of the body's laws. Now we're being aware of God's laws. So we're working with the laws together, and that is all part of the great work. Okay? So that's coming. That's the non-dual perspective. Okay? All there is consciousness. All there is God. That's it. That's what you're going to realize. It's very important. Okay? So that's the thing. Anders, where there's tension, that's where the tight cords come in. So do the process with the CRH. And that's helping to loose the cords, cut them free, replace them, and there you have it. Okay? Okay. David asks, are we going to do a meditation? Not really today. Today's just kind of a feedback day. Tomorrow, we can certainly do a meditation. And, of course, on day 10, we can do a meditation. Today is more so just about you guys, asking me questions, feedback regarding the CRH, success stories as well, too. That's really what we're committing today to. Okay? So tomorrow and the next day, certainly, we can do some meditation. Okay? Like I said, the great meditation I'd suggest you guys do is your rhythmic breathing. Okay, that's a meditative practice. Okay, so go back to yesterday's video, okay, to day number 7, and start working together with your rhythmic breathing, okay, with your pranayama. That is the meditation. That's the meditation you should be working on twice per day for 10 minutes each. Okay, work on that meditation constantly. That's what's going to increase your magnetic body. Okay. Like I said, guys, so many of you think you want to develop superpowers. That's how you do it. This is how you do it. You work with your prana. You work with your chi. You work with your ki. You work with your mana. You work with your life force. That's it. That's how you develop your superpowers, which are just natural abilities that you have, right? Yogis would refer to these as siddhis. Okay? Basically representing types of psychic prowess. But they would always say, ignore them. Now, I don't think you should ignore them. You have to, I would say, rather discipline them. Discipline them so that you're in harmony with them, right? This is why I really don't teach you guys directly about developing siddhis, right? Because you can develop that through kundalini. You can develop that through samadhi. You can develop that through deep meditation, through absorption. And you may get these effects. And these effects that come up are the developments of siddhis, okay, your psychic prowesses. And like I said, so many people get distracted by those. They basically throw off all of their inner work. Say, oh my God, I'm super clairvoyant right now. Oh my God, I know how to levitate. Yeah, people can levitate, all right? Oh my God, I can teleport. I can bilocate. I can do all these things. I can shrink myself down to the size of an atom. I can expand myself to the size of the universe. And now we start playing like clowns with these abilities. Okay? And these are the siddhis. So I would say not ignore them, but I would say discipline yourself, discipline them. Okay? And that's all part of the process. But a lot of yogis would say that. Say, just don't pay attention to those. Go to God. Go to God. Do not pay attention to those, because you're just wasting your time with those things, right? Because they take their practices very, very deeply seriously, and they want their disciples, their students, to go to God. But certain students will get distracted by that, and they'll start using it for their own selfish motives. And if you start using those for selfish motives, you are in big trouble. Big trouble, right? You will have misery you cannot imagine. This is why you have to be very, very careful when you start working with the great work, when you start working with siddhis, when you start developing psychic prowess. You have to be so very responsible with that. People can use those things to kill people, just so you know. Okay? This is what they've done in the military, is they've actually developed siddhis. Telepathy, telekinesis, right? Pyrokinesis, they can do that. They've had psychic programs. And they can work with these quote-unquote super soldiers or augmented ones, basically developing these advanced psychic prowesses that they have learned from sages, because they've talked to them about how it can be developed, and they would use that for weaponization. And those people that do that are basically in the most miserable states you can imagine. That is not what this is about. Okay, it is not about you developing psychic abilities so that you can selfishly use it for your own end. Okay, and even if I find out that you're doing that, I won't teach you anything. So that's very important, that we do not abuse that. If you are using your psychic prowess, you are using it for others. You're not using it for yourself. Okay, that's something very, very important. Yes, these abilities exist. Yes, they can be cultivated, but it's all based upon how you use them. If you use them erroneously, God help you, because you are going to be getting such a backlash on ways you can't imagine. Do not use it for selfish ends. You will greatly regret it. Okay? So we'll eventually get into that stuff. But like I said, that's not too important right now, is to wonder about my psychic abilities or my psychic prowess and all that. The great work needs to come first. Okay? Okay, so this is from Victoria. Did CRH for a epiretinal membrane in my right eye and a second session on cataract. Neither condition was severe enough for surgery, so this is a great time to have done this. Great, yeah. And even if it is very, very severe for surgery, you can still clean it. You can still heal it. The greatest thing, guys, is your own faith. Okay, this is what's responsible for all healing, period. The strength of your own faith. Okay? So again, as long as you guys have, I'm giving you guys a prelude here to the great work. Okay? As long as you guys have great faith, great strength, great love, that's all you need, okay? You can make what scientists and doctors have thought to be impossible to cure, curable, okay? There is a saying that I've just come upon recently. There is no such thing as an incurable disease, but there is such a thing as incurable people, okay? I want you guys to really contemplate that. There is no such thing as an incurable disease, but there is such a thing as incurable people. Okay? Every disease can be healed. Every disease can be cured. Every single one. I don't care what you list to me. Brad Alzheimer's. Yep. Dementia. Yep. Diabetes. Yep. Cancer. Yep. Leukemia. Everything. Yes, all curable. Okay, of influenza, yes. Name it. Morgellons, yep. Everything. But what, in that sense, is really incurable is people who do not know their power. People who do not have any faith whatsoever, who have no love whatsoever. Those are the incurable. Okay? It's through people, not the diseases themselves. Like I said, guys, there's no such thing as germ theory. Okay? Everything happens within yourself. It's all sympathetic resonance. It's all vibration. Okay? This is all great work that I'm telling you guys about. So we'll get into that down the road. Very good, Victoria. I'm glad to see that you're doing some great success here with your healing work. Anders says, I've noticed that animals in nature sometimes behave in unusual ways, like with a fearless higher consciousness. I wonder if it may be higher consciousness. I'm not too sure what you mean, Anders. Right? I have noticed that animals in nature sometimes behave in unusual ways, like with a fearless higher consciousness. Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. You have to be a little more specific with that. David Daly says, is there a separate BCR video? I think you mentioned that I have not done all the days you went on. I love my dog, the great work. Okay. I'm not too sure about the last part there. But the BCR challenge is in my playlists. Okay. So you just go to my YouTube channel, go to my playlist, you'll see the 30-day BCR technique challenge. Okay. There's 30 days worth. And there's also a bonus 31-day as well too. So that's where you would do the work for a BCR technique. Okay. So work with that 30-day challenge. Okay, going down the list here a bit more. Anders says, no online Kundalini streams. No. Are you crazy? Hell no. Guys, I will never teach you Kundalini online. That is extremely wrong to do. Okay? Very wrong. No. Hell no. I will never do that, okay? I will never teach you guys Kundalini online. That is so wrong, okay? Do not do that. If you have no teacher working together with you, and if you don't know what you're doing, guys, you can cripple yourself with Kundalini, okay? People can cripple themselves tremendously by not having a teacher present with them. This is very serious. You do not just go ahead and screw around with Kundalini when you don't know what you're doing, right? It can be very, very dangerous. Do not ever do it online, ever, okay? You can research it, you can study it, okay? But please make sure you have a teacher, okay? I had a spiritual teacher that was helping me out with my Kundalini, right? I told you I had Ramtha with me, right? The being that Jay-Z Knight channels. I had him. He was talking to me very clearly, telling me exactly what I needed to do. So I certainly had a teacher in spirit that was working with me in that way. Plus, as I was channeling back then, I had presences in that way. So I certainly did have a teacher, right? Not physical, but nonetheless a teacher that was telling me exactly what I needed to do, step by step, okay? A lot of you guys don't have that, okay? You guys go on a YouTube video and say, hey guys, here's how you can open your Kundalini. No. Don't be irresponsible, okay? Please have a teacher, okay? This is why I said I'm going to do retreats, and these retreats are going to be in person, okay? And then I will teach you guys how to do it because I have experience of awakening my own Kundalini, okay? And that's what your teacher has to have. Your teacher has to have the experience of awakening their own Kundalini, and then they show you what they did, okay? That's very important. You guys do not screw around with online material like that. That is completely irresponsible, okay? I will not ever bring that kind of irresponsibility to people, okay? Because Kundalini has to be taken very, very seriously. And because I've talked to a lot of people who have damaged themselves by trying Kundalini practices without a teacher. And they've really messed themselves up. Is it reversible? Yes, you can go to a teacher and you can, depending on the teacher, of course, they can help you through it. But, you know, people don't even bother to cleanse themselves. They don't be able to prepare themselves as they need to. I had to go through preparation for mine. I didn't just go ahead and do it for the heck of it, okay? You have to go through preparation. You have to clean yourself out. That is not something you mess with, guys, right? Please do not be irresponsible like that, okay? Take this seriously. You need a teacher, right? If you basically have a teacher that comes in spirit world and is able to talk to you intricately about what you can do, just like Ramtha was with me, then that's fine. That's a teacher, Okay? But again, if you do not have that, and if you don't have a physical teacher and you're learning to do kundalini, extremely unwise. Okay? So no, I will not support that. Absolutely not. I don't care if you guys beg me to, I would not do that. Okay? That's just where I stand. We have to be responsible, guys, and that is being irresponsible. Okay? Here's a contribution here from Marla. Marla says, CRH worked great on an out exchange situation, and a 5-year previous video popped up for me that you gave up about we are not to be trifled with. You mentioned using shadow work to clean the tainted. Yep. That I remember, right? Not to be trifled with. As divine as you are, as powerful as you are, as strong as you are not to be trifled with, right? Because now you're seeing yourself as spirit. Spirit is not to be trifled with because you can't trifle with spirit. Spirit is perfection. Okay? So in that sense, when you come into that perfection, it is impossible for you to be trifled with, right? You are only ever trifled with through the imperfection, through the impermanent world. But when you see yourself in that perfection, it is impossible for you to be trifled with. Okay? So that's kind of the new lesson on top of it. But very good. Thank you, Mother, for that. Okay. Let me just go down the list a bit more. Okay, here's what Anders is saying about animals and nature. Can sometimes interact with people I have noticed. And for example, a wild chimpanzee in nature walked up to Dre Krishnamurti and took his hand in her hand. Yes, absolutely. Because they're on the same level. They're on the same vibrational level. You're moving into a harmony with all life. So this is, I guess, what you're saying about a higher consciousness. It's not a higher consciousness, guys. This has nothing to do with a higher consciousness. This is natural consciousness. You are breaking the veils of being in a morbid, controlling, delusional system of living. And you break all those veils apart. You shatter those windows. Okay? And now you are opening yourself up to life in ways you could not imagine. That is not higher consciousness, okay? That's natural consciousness. That's you aligning to the natural consciousness of life itself, okay? And now all life interacts with you because you're shattering these veils. You're breaking them down, right? It's like sitting in a park and you just see this nice little squirrel coming up to you, and you're just in meditation and you open your eyes briefly. You see this little squirrel coming up to you, and he's now starting to walk up to your lap, right? Maybe he's holding an acorn for you, okay? That has nothing to do with the idea of a higher consciousness. That's the idea that you are expansive. Okay? You are breaking the veils down, and now you see your animal companions as yourself. Right? It's just seeing more of you in all these unique ways that you are completely humbled with. You're humbled with your animal companions. You're humbled with nature. Just yesterday, guys, I was walking in my park, and it was like -8 degrees Celsius out. And I just made a harmony with the cold. Okay, I was not cold. I just took off my jacket, took off everything. Not everything, I should say, but just take off my jacket, took off all the heavy stuff to keep me warm, and just enjoyed being in the cold. Okay, I didn't do any fancy breathing techniques. I didn't do no Wim Hof method. I didn't do any Tumo method or anything of that nature. This was just being in splendid harmony with the cold, because the cold is just a vibration. Do you guys ever wonder how some of these people have been able to walk over hot coals? Right? If you guys tried it, you'd probably be scorching your feet like crazy. But when these people have disciplined themselves and trained themselves to become in harmony with life, they are in harmony with the vibration of the heat, and they no longer feel heat. So they are walking over these super hot coals without being scorched whatsoever, because they have worked together in a state of being, aligning their thought to be in harmony with the heat. And now they're able to walk across the coals without burning their feet whatsoever. Same thing with people who can go out into cold. There are sadhus that are in the Himalayas that live under snow, right? And they have hardly anything on. Maybe they have a loincloth on, and that's it. But they live under the snow, and they've lived under the snow for years. Well, Brad, how is that possible? They're in harmony with the weather. They're in harmony with the climate. They're in harmony with the snow. They're in harmony with the cold. Doesn't bother them. It's all just a state of being. It's a thought, right? That's all you're doing. Okay? So you're breaking all of these windows, these walls, these barriers down by exercising the natural discipline of yourself so that you realize you're just interacting with pure expanded consciousness. Okay? It's not about the higher or the lower. Okay? You're just widening yourself. You're making yourself widen. So when Krishnamurti is again interacting with a chimpanzee in that way, he sees that little one as an equal. He sees that little one as part of life, right? There's no difference between a chimpanzee and a human. There's no difference between a praying mantis and a human, or a dog, or a horse, or what have you. Okay? All of those veils have completely broken down. And now you are expansive. And so now the entire universe is just completely in harmony with you, and you are in harmony with it. It's all just through the nature of a state of being. It's a beautiful thing. All right? So yes, you're correct about that. But again, it's not about higher consciousness, guys. That becomes just pretty new agey. Okay? We look into the idea about just matching the frequency of what we're looking to interact with. And as we continue to do this, that frequency becomes natural with us. It's as natural as breathing. So now animals are coming to us all the time. And we're enjoying them. We're enjoying their company, and they're enjoying ours. They're no longer afraid of you because they see you. They see that your veils have been down. That stench of fear is now gone because that's a veil you've shattered. All right? That's all it is. Marla, again, thank you again for your contribution. Ran out of characters. My question is, have you provided a teaching on the shadow work to clean the tainted energy that we call back to ourselves? It's exactly what you guys are learning through CRH. Okay? Marla, this is shadow work. Okay? You're doing cord removal healing. You're taking out the shadows. What does your cord represent? That tension. Okay? That's shadow work. You guys are doing shadow work right now. That's what cord removal healing is all about. That's what the BCR technique is all about. You are doing house cleaning. Okay? You're cleaning yourself up. Your shadow just represents the nature of your ignorance. Okay? You have applied ignorance through many facets of your life. And so we're doing simple techniques like this to help in clearing out that taintedness of where we put all that energy. We are basically cleaning out our ignorance. That's what we're doing. That's the true shadow work. Okay? So even when I'm saying that, yes, when you're a spiritual being, you're not to be trifled with, it's because you can't be trifled with. You are going into your inner perfection. And you are living in that inner perfection, and it is impossible for you to be trifled with. Okay? And you're also learning to take this seriously. Right? So you're realizing that you're standing in your power. And when you're standing in your power, there's no advantage. No one can take advantage of you in that way. Okay? So this is all inner work. This is what CRH and BCR is all about. It is your inner work. Okay? You can call it shadow work. You can call it inner work. But nonetheless, it's the inner work that you're doing to clean yourselves out to therefore get to the next stage, which is the non-dual, which I'll be teaching you guys here in the next few weeks. Okay? Okay. So I think we'll take one or two more questions, guys. We're going to wrap up. David asks, how many of us have teachers? I have Jesus and Course in Miracles. Tina, maybe too many teachers. I need to find one. Brad makes sense that he left Adronis to teach us. Just my thoughts. Well, it comes back to that old saying, whenever you need the guru shows up. Okay? So some of you in that sense can basically have what I refer to as peripheral teachers. Okay? You may be in an area of the planet where you may not notice that there's any physical teachers around, but then you start to attract teachers to you, right? Whether it's online or what have you. But nonetheless, you have a teacher, right? You may stumble across books. You may stumble across videos, okay? And those become kind of peripheral teachers for you. But most importantly, you connect with Spirit, because Spirit is always your teacher, okay? So basically, in that sense, the whole idea is that the guru shows up when the student is ready, okay? And that can take any particular form it needs to, right? For me, I've had a lot of spiritual teachers, okay? Not in the physical plane, okay? But basically, my unseen forces in the background, yes, Adronis was one of them, Rayar was another one, etc. And Ramtha was another one as well, too. And I've also learned certain things from peripheral teachers here, right? So people who I've tuned into, like with their videos and people I've talked to. Forrest Knudsen, I wouldn't say he's a teacher, but I'd kind of see him like a peer. But him and I have exchanged information back and forth, right? And so I learned from people like that. And so that's good. So I said, okay, well, what did you discover when you're looking into this? And then they said, oh, I discovered this. Oh, that's very interesting because I discovered this, right? And that's how I kind of talk to people, right? We're kind of helping each other out. And then, yeah, sometimes I'll look at books. Like I'll look at, one of my favorite books is Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. Okay, that's fantastic information. I've learned a lot just from that book series alone. Okay, so I'll talk to Spirit about these things and say, okay, interesting here about the perfect laws and all that, right? I always look into these things deeper. So for me, I've had a lot of spiritual teachers, and I've had peripheral teachers in the way, and peripheral peers and guides in that particular way. But that's just me. Everybody else is different, okay? You may attract a very wise mentor in your life, right? Someone who you just met at a coffee shop, and you overheard their conversation. Now you start talking to them, and now you see how wise this person is, and now they're happy to take you on as a student. Things like that can happen, okay? When the student is ready, the guru will arrive, okay? So however the guru needs to come, doesn't have to be a physical guru, but nonetheless the teachings of God will come to you, okay? When you're ready. It happened to me, so why wouldn't it happen to you? So some of us have physical teachers. Some of us may have non-physical teachers. And nonetheless, there's teachers, right? Nonetheless, it will be there. Some of you may come to me and ask me about these certain things, and I'm more than happy to teach you these concepts. This is why I'm giving away a lot of these things for free. I give away way more stuff for free than stuff that I charge for, right? Only things I'm really charging for is mostly my sessions and my healing code cards, right? That's my support. But a lot of the stuff here on the channel, and there's thousands of videos, guys, so you have lots of stuff to look into. And I'm helping you guys every step of the way, and there's just such a demand for my time. I'm kind of glad I'm just taking the holidays right now to kind of recharge. But I'll be back into the swing of things here in January again. So I'm here, absolutely. Okay. Edgelord said, this is not shadow work. You need to re-experience the trauma and integrate it. It's exactly what you're doing, Edgelord, right? You are working with experiencing the trauma. This is all part of why we're writing it down. Everybody has their own means of what they consider shadow work to be, okay? Some people feel that they need to talk out their shadow work. They need to talk out their situations. They need to talk out their traumas. Then go for it. Go ahead and do it. Shadow work is different for different people, okay? For me, for my own experiences, I didn't really need to talk out a lot of my shadows. All I had to do is work out a lot of the shadows. I realized that they were there. Rather than attaching to a lot of the story that what they represented, I understood their overall impression. As I understood their overall impression, I was able to exercise to the nature of the opposite. And through the nature of the opposite, all of these things have been cleared out. There is a lot to work with, but over the years, all of these things started to get cleared out bit by bit, just by doing the very similar practices that I'm teaching you guys today. Okay? Edgelord, it's not appropriate to say that there's only one type of shadow practice. Okay? That is incorrect. There are many different ways about how people are able to go in and start to clean themselves out, how to go in and realize the whole idea here is through the entire practice with BCR, with CRH, with the EQ method, and so forth. All you're doing is you're being aware of what the underlying issue is, and you're acknowledging it. Okay? You do not have to talk it out. That's an option, and some people enjoy that, right? So what you're doing is you're flipping it. You are, again, performing equivalent exchange. Here I have this tension right here. And now I'm reinforcing it with all of this pure love energy that I have, with the goodness of myself, with everything that represents goodness, everything that represents strength. And with that strength, the emotions of trauma start to shrink down because the strength of the love energy overwhelms it. Okay? I talk about this, Edgelord, because I've done it. Okay? And you guys are doing it as well now too. And you're realizing how this works. So, Edgelord, I have to disagree with you. People are showing me how this is working. People are showing me how they're clearing out their traumas with the BCR technique. People are showing me how they're clearing out their traumas here with the cord removal healing. Okay? If it didn't work, we wouldn't have those kind of testimonials, would we? Not to mention my own testimonials with working with practices like this. Okay? Shadow work comes in many different forms. All we're doing with shadow work is we are vanquishing away the ignorance. However that needs to happen. Whether you decide to talk it out, whether you decide to integrate it, whether you decide to, again, work together with substitution. I have not taken this lightly. It's taken me 13 years to really develop these methods because I have looked into it. I've looked into psychological imprints about what psychologists would do. And I find that their techniques is very long, right? Their practice is very long, and it's not very efficient either, right? I don't really agree with the psychological ways. Okay? They're way too long, and again, they drag themselves out way too much. So to me, that's not very efficient. Okay? The more efficient way is substitution. And that's really what we're doing through BCR, with EQ method, with cord removal healing. We have a substitute. That's why we have the white ball in the center of the chest. When you are able to cultivate enough of that love energy, enough of that strength and that faith within yourself, that faith, even as Jesus once said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to a mountain to move, and the mountain will move. Well, that is exactly what I base all this off of. Okay? The great teachings of the masters. The idea of self-inquiry, right? Self-inquiry has nothing to do with integration whatsoever, yet it is extremely powerful. Okay? When we're working with self-inquiry, we're just asking ourselves the question, who am I? Who is it that thinks these thoughts? Who am I? Right? And that can be groundbreaking for people. Okay? This is what I'm saying. There is not one direct route to God, but there are many paths to God. Okay? When you're working together with your shadows, so many of you guys just give so much power to your shadows more than your love. And that's your problem. So therefore, you give too much credence to your shadows and not enough to your love. And this is what I have developed for the past 13 years, is saying, how can we get over that hurdle? We can get over that hurdle by reinforcing ourselves. We reinforce and we substitute. And through that reinforcement of this powerful love energy that you're doing, with all this tension energy, it starts to shrink itself down and it starts to dissolve. Because the love energy is presence. That presence is now being able to shrink and dissolve everything that represents the distortion energy of trauma. Okay? I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up to you guys, as you know what. Okay? This is backed. This is backed through my own experiences. This is backed through my students' experiences. Right? It works. So that's what I can say about it. All right? Okay. And Lotus, thank you for your contribution. I appreciate it. Okay. So let's go down to maybe one more question and we'll wrap up. Okay, I think I'm mostly just seeing some comments here. All right, so I think we'll wrap it up for today. So like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to do a kind of a quick review tomorrow. Later on here, I'll also put the link down below where you guys can join me for the Zoom meeting for day number 10. And we'll do a final feedback session there for day number 10 on Wednesday. Okay, and that'll be at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So check the recording, the video description, and you'll see that link down there. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Take care, and I'll speak to you all again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, again for a short broadcast. And then tomorrow is also New Earth Insights. All right, take care, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. All right, take care.